December 2001, Houston, Texas. The seventh largest company in America was about to disappear. 20,000 employees were about to lose everything. Billions of dollars were vanishing into thin air. This wasn't a natural disaster. This wasn't bad luck. This was the biggest corporate fraud in history. Enron was once the most innovative company in the world. Wall Street loved them. Investors trusted them. Fortune magazine called them America's most innovative company, 6 years in a row. But behind the fancy offices and the smart executives, there was a secret. A terrible, dark secret. And when that secret came out, everything collapsed. This is the story of Enron. The story of greed, lies, and one of the greatest frauds ever created. Welcome to Capital Sins. Our story begins in 1985. A man named Kenneth had a vision. He wanted to build the biggest energy company in America. Kenneth was not a young dreamer. He was 52 years old, smart and experienced. He had a PhD in economics. He understood business. He understood power. Created Enron by merging two natural gas companies. The idea was simple: transport natural gas across the United States through pipelines. But wanted more. He wanted Enron to be different. He wanted to change the entire energy industry. At that time, energy companies were boring. They just moved gas and electricity from one place to another. But had a bigger idea. He wanted Enron to become an energy trader. What does that mean? Instead of just moving energy, Enron would buy and sell energy like a stock market. They would trade energy contracts, make deals, and earn huge profits. And to help him build this empire, hired a man named Jeffrey Skilling. Skilling was a consultant from McKinsey, one of the most prestigious consulting firms in the world. He was brilliant, aggressive, and hungry for success. Skilling believed that Enron could do anything. He believed that trading energy was just the beginning. He believed Enron could trade everything: electricity, water, internet bandwidth, even weather. Yes, you heard that right. Weather. Together, and Skilling started building the Enron empire. And it worked. During the 1990s, Enron exploded. The company grew faster than anyone expected. In 1990, Enron's revenue was $9 billion. By the year 2000, it was $100 billion. That's more than 10 times bigger in just 10 years. Wall Street was obsessed with Enron. Stock analysts gave the company perfect ratings. Investors poured money into Enron stock. The share price went higher and higher. Employees became millionaires on paper. Everyone wanted to work at Enron. It was the dream job. Enron's headquarters in Houston became a symbol of success. The building was modern, sleek, and full of energy. Inside, employees worked in a high-pressure culture. Skilling created a system called rank and yank. Every year, employees were ranked. The bottom 15% were fired. Only the smartest and most aggressive survived. It was brutal, but it kept people hungry. Enron was also innovative. They launched Enron Online, a digital platform for trading energy. It was revolutionary. Suddenly, anyone could trade energy contracts with a click. Enron controlled the platform, so they controlled the market. They made money on every single trade. The company expanded into new businesses. They built power plants in India and Brazil. They traded metals, paper, and steel. They even started a broadband internet division. Enron wanted to own the future. Kenneth became a celebrity CEO. He was friends with politicians, including President George W. Bush. He donated millions to political campaigns. He was invited to the White House. He was powerful, respected, and rich. But there was a problem. A very big problem. Most of Enron's profits were fake. Behind the success, Enron was hiding a terrible secret. The company was not making real money. They were creating fake profits using accounting tricks. Here's how it worked. Enron used something called mark-to-market accounting. This is a legal accounting method, but Enron abused it. Let me explain it simply. Imagine Enron signed a contract to deliver energy for 20 years. The total value of that contract was $1 billion. With normal accounting, Enron would record the profits slowly, year by year. But with mark-to-market accounting, Enron recorded the entire $1 billion as profit immediately. On day one, the problem? That money didn't exist yet. It was just a prediction, and Enron's predictions were always too optimistic. They inflated the numbers. They lied about how much money they would make. But that wasn't the worst part. Enron also created something called Special Purpose Entities, or SPEs. These were fake companies. Enron used these fake companies to hide debt and hide losses. It was like magic. Debt disappeared from Enron's financial reports and appeared in these hidden companies. The person behind this trick was Andrew Fastow, Enron's chief financial officer. Fastow was a genius at hiding problems. He created hundreds of these fake entities with strange names like Chuco and Raptor. He even made millions of dollars personally from these schemes. He was lying to investors, lying to employees, and lying to the government. Everyone at the top knew. Kenneth Lay knew. Jeffrey Skilling knew. But they didn't stop. They couldn't stop. If they told the truth, the stock price would collapse. Employees would lose their jobs. Executives would lose their fortunes. So they kept lying. And for a while, it worked. Enron's stock price reached $90 per share in August 2000. The company was worth $70 billion. It was unstoppable. But lies don't last forever. The first crack appeared in August 2001. Jeffrey Skilling suddenly resigned as CEO. He said it was for personal reasons, but people were suspicious. Why would the CEO of the most successful company in America just quit? Then, a woman named Sharon Watkins wrote a letter to Kenneth Lay. Watkins was an Enron employee. She warned Lay that the company was using accounting tricks that could destroy Enron. She said the company might implode in a wave of accounting scandals. Lay ignored her. In October 2001, Enron announced a $618 million loss. Investors panicked. The stock price started falling. People started asking questions. Journalists started investigating. And then, everything exploded. In November, Enron admitted that it had overstated profits by almost $600 million. The company had been lying for years. The fake entities were exposed. The fraud was revealed. Investors ran away. The stock price collapsed from $90 to less than $1 in just a few weeks. Banks refused to lend money to Enron. Partners refused to do business with them. The company was dying. On December 2, 2001, Enron filed for bankruptcy. It was the largest bankruptcy in American history at that time. 20,000 employees lost their jobs. Most of them lost their retirement savings because their pensions were invested in Enron stock. Billions of dollars disappeared. Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling were arrested. Andrew Fastow was arrested. They were charged with fraud, conspiracy, and insider trading. The trial was one of the biggest in American history. In 2006, Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling were found guilty. Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison. But Kenneth Lay never went to prison. He died of a heart attack before sentencing. Some people believe he faked his death. Others believe the stress killed him. We will never know for sure. Andrew Fastow made a deal with prosecutors. He admitted his crimes and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He was released in 2011. Enron was gone. The dream was over. The empire had collapsed. The Enron scandal changed America forever. It destroyed trust in corporations. It destroyed trust in accountants. It destroyed trust in Wall Street. The government responded with new laws. In 2002, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act was passed. This law created stricter rules for companies and accountants. It made fraud harder to hide. It made executives personally responsible for financial reports. Enron's accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, also collapsed. Arthur Andersen was one of the 5 biggest accounting firms in the world, but they helped Enron hide the fraud. They destroyed documents. They were found guilty of obstruction of justice. The firm was destroyed. 85,000 people lost their jobs. So what is the lesson of Enron? The lesson is simple. Greed destroys everything. When leaders care more about money than truth, when executives lie to protect their wealth, everyone suffers. Employees suffer, investors suffer. Society suffers. Enron had everything. They had smart people. They had innovation. They had opportunity. But they chose lies over honesty. They chose greed over integrity. And in the end, they lost everything. Never forget Enron. Never forget what happens when ambition becomes corruption. This is Capital Sins. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button and subscribe to Capital Sins. We uncover the biggest frauds, failures, and scandals in business history. Drop a comment below. What company should we investigate next? See you in the next episode.